Richmond Water is local water from an artesian aquifer in Mechanicsville, Virginia. It comes from Virginia Artesian Bottling. They're a great partner, and their entire facility is run 100% on solar energy, so we're excited to partner with them on this project. What you see here is a can that features Hamilton Glass's artwork. He was gracious enough to license this art to us for about 25,000 cans. He's our Edition 1 artist. You guys ready? We're gonna go.
I didn't know.
You can take it. Why don't you put it in your pocket and then put it in your car when we walk back over there? Because you can keep it and wash it. And I'll talk a little bit about the sources of water first, because that's one of the things that people don't often think about. It's like, you know where you get your water. Yeah, natural springs, that's a good one. There's a lot of natural springs in Richmond, but a lot of people won't drink from them because there have been times when they were contaminated. There's actually a natural spring in the basement of the Bird Theater. As well as Chimborazo Park and Bird Park, and they're all over the place. And it used to actually be one of the primary sources of water for Richmonders. They would go to those and fill up, containers and take it back home. But things have changed, and people have a very convenient option all over the place. And imagine hauling water could be a pain in the butt. But the other problem is well water is not safe if you don't treat it. So that's a problem. City water is completely safe, especially in Richmond. Super great water. I mean, award-winning water. It's fluorinated, which is a good thing for oral health. It provides tremendous benefits. But then you have, obviously your packaged waters, and boxed water is a cool thing. That's sustainable packaging. You've got aluminum cans of water that are really not durable. So for instance, you can get them from sporting events and stuff like that, and they're almost like the consistency of a soda can. When you take the cap off, it just deconstructs essentially from that point. They actually have to add air to the can to keep its shape, so that it's only ever going to be single use. Now that's fine, because aluminum gets recycled at a much higher level than plastic does. Plastic, like PET plastic, what we drink out of in plastic bottles, it's only about 95% that goes into the landfill, it goes into the waterways, it goes into the ocean. So we'll talk more about that stuff later. But there are many sources of water, but what most people aren't doing is preparing ahead of time and thinking about, where am I going to get my water today? And when you have water available everywhere, it's something you don't have to think about. So we kind of out of sight, out of mind. We're not, I'll get it when I need it. And then you find yourself in a position where there's no water fountain, or the water fountain you found doesn't work. And what are you going to do? You're thirsty. You're going to drink water. I was at an event 2 days ago, and there was a bunch of little tiny water bottles on the counter where people came into the event. And I brought some Richmond water with me, and I put it down on the countertop. And in front of I pushed those water bottles back, and I put the Richmond water down. And there's a few people in the room who knew what Richmond water was, and they grabbed it. But anybody who came in the room who'd never seen Richmond water before, they didn't even look at it. They reached around and grabbed the plastic water bottle. So that was a huge lesson for me, because it tells me that consumers aren't thinking. They're like, okay, I'm thirsty. There's a bottle of water right there. It's right next to the sink. There's a faucet, but there's no cups. There's no other option. So it's just like what we do when we go to meetings, and even if we're not buying it at our house, sometimes we're still consuming it and just forgetting about it, or maybe pretending like it didn't happen so that we don't feel guilty. But all right, so this is so I'm going to talk about the problem of plastic now, because I found what I was looking for. So one of the things that they say is it takes plastic 150 years to break down, and that's it takes, in our minds, it's it takes too long. But the reality is, you don't want the plastic to break down at all, because when it breaks down into microplastics, and it goes in the water, and it goes into our bodies ultimately. But there are people who come down here and clean this place up all the time. Look how old this bottle is. This thing has been down here for years, being sun-drenched, and it might have washed up from a high tide or something like that, but I don't think the water comes up this high, does it, Chuck?
Not often.
Not often, not this time of year. So, again, people come down here and clean stuff up, and it's still sitting out here. So, that's just one of the problems with it, and I don't know. There's actually a front page article, and it's on our posts from the RTD last week, that, I think it was last week or a week ago, basically just talking about how much microplastics are in our water, and even like inside the plastic bottles of water. So in the manufacturing process, and just from the breakdown of the bottle anyway, it just leaches into the water over time. So.
I'm gonna get that plastic bag in my AC.
Oh, here, let me get it. I got gloves on.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, people are like pulling me in all kinds of different directions. There's many of them over here. The gutter of the street is the place where you see a lot of the plastic bottles. And I don't know, this looks like this is Propel. So I'm gonna out them when I can tell who it is. But I'm gonna walk over here because it's the same thing. There's one right here. And so part of the reason why I wanted to walk on the street is because, you know, they'll be all along the little gutter just like this. All right, let's go. So Richmond Water isn't just trying to sell water. Richmond Water is probably not going to sell that much water. We're going to sell swag, we're going to have tickets to events, we're going to throw parties, we're going to have fun. We're going to give a lot of water away in the process because what we want to encourage is people to refill these bottles, or if they bring a bottle, we're gonna let them fill it up at our station still, because we wanna change the behavior. That's the big problem that we have, is that until people have another option, they're not gonna change. And so everything about this brand is gonna be, you know, we're not trying to get you to buy another one of these. If you've got one and you love it, keep it, don't get another one. Wait for the next artist, which is gonna come out in 25,000 cans, or better yet, buy it online from us and vote on who the next artist is going to be. Vote on who the next nonprofit that's going to get 50 cents from every can is going to be. Jump into a crowdfunding campaign and push the product out and make sure that your nonprofit gets 50 cents on top of that. So there's a lot of different ways that we're going to kind of encourage this, but we're going to use messaging on the bottle, we're going to use campaign messaging, we're going to be out in the public, and we're going to talk about sustainability, and we're going to talk about how this water comes from 15 minutes up the road versus wherever the hell the water comes from the big water guys. We know it's coming from another state, it's coming from all over the place. So, you know, this is good. The other thing that's good about this comes from Virginia Artesian Bottling. They're in Mechanicsville, and they just two weeks ago, they went to 100% solar power. So their entire production facility is run on solar, and we're just really excited about their sustainability initiatives. They brought this product in to test so they could see if their equipment would run it. They asked us if we wanted to put our labels on it. And what I want to say, which is really funny, is this business was not supposed to start. This was an idea on December 26th, and I had an intern and I said, okay, we need a project for you. And he said, I want to work on the water thing. So we threw him on the water thing. I called the bottler. I had a meeting in 2 weeks. And he said, a week later, he said, hey, do you want to put your label on these cans? I mean, I think one of the things that I recognized early on was that people are going to buy one of these cans and they may not need another one for a really long time. And that's okay, because if you refill this 10 times, I only need to sell you 3 bottles of water to cut into 10% of the amount of water that the average American consumes, which is 167 bottles a year. But everybody who buys online will actually be able to vote on a future artist and a future nonprofit. So that's one of the big things that we want to do, is we want you to buy it, pre-buy it, buy it online ahead of time, get access to it because it will be limited, and then come see us at a festival, come see us at one of our pickup parties or locations and get your can, meet the artists, you know, and we'll give out free water at those things too. So if you run out, you want to come back and get a refill, we'll give you a refill. Fortunately, we've heard from some great people in the community. We've heard from some retailers, from some nonprofits, and actually got an email yesterday from the VCU Development Office. They want to eliminate single-use plastics, whether that be bottles, cups, or anything from their development office. And so we'll talk to their sustainability team and see what we can do to help them. But the reality is people want something different. The reception of this product has been so great that every day when I wake up, I have 7 new jobs to do, and I don't question whether or not I should be doing them. It's just like, you know, even when the haters come out, you know, I'm like, okay, how do I change their minds? What am I missing? What don't they see? What am I not getting fast enough for them in the product, in the label, in the brand? And so we're gonna keep refining and try to break through to those people. But you know, that's just a small fraction of the people that have reached out and have supported this project. And so it's very clear that people want to support it. It's very clear people want a different option. And we're going to give it to them. And it's going to be a community project. It's going to be something the community plays a part in, not just something that somebody's cramming down their throats, which Richmond's so used to, that, you know, no wonder there's some people who feel skeptical of this project and don't trust a new water brand. So we've got a lot of work to do, but it's a fight that I'm willing to fight, and I think there's a lot of other people too. Richmond Water is local artesian water from Mechanicsville, Virginia in a durable aluminum can. We're going to encourage everybody who buys this to hold on to it. It's a collector's item. It features art from a local artist. This is Hamilton Glass. And we're going to give 50 cents of every can sold to a nonprofit. Our starting nonprofit is Mending Walls. So please support us in this campaign. The starting price is going to be $5. You're going to get a can and you're going to get a vote on a future artist and a future nonprofit, because we're going to rotate out both of those after about 25,000 cans. So this is going to be a true community project. We want to bring you along with us. So please check out drinkrichmondwater.com.